This is Out High Bear Nation.
What's up, everybody? Good morning or good afternoon for some of you. This is Out of High Bear Nation right here on the Undefeated Sports Network. As always, I am your guy, Andrew Tarbill. To my left is the man, the myth, the legend, Angelo, the Bears Make Me Sad, Camacho. What's up, Ace? How we doing this morning, man?
Well, it's another wonderful Sunday. I'm prepared to get my heart broken again. At least this time it won't be till 3 o'clock, so I can kind of enjoy my morning a little bit, have some coffee, talk with you, set my lineups, and be miserable by 3:30.
Yeah, I like the 3:30, 3:25 time slot start for the Bears, just because it gives us the opportunity to follow up on fantasy football a little bit before our games start and,
Right.
Not be such depressed Bears fans. But with that being said, man, let's go ahead and get into it because there has been a lot that has transpired since we were last on the airwaves last Sunday.
That is an understatement.
Most notably, so let's get right into it. Most notably, Alan Williams, the defensive coordinator for the Bears, for whatever reason, is no longer with the team. Came out this morning from Schefter that it was non-illegal activity. So
I trust Schefter more than all the other stuff we were hearing on Twitter or X.
Yes, absolutely. But with that being said, I mean, still an odd situation. Alan Williams walks away from the team for non-illegal reasons. He claims health. There was a slew of rumors throughout the week with the media. I don't want to get into any of those as most have been proven false now, but just really a whirlwind week. So Wednesday especially, Alan Williams walks away from the team. $100,000 worth of lawn mowing equipment gets stolen from the Bears facility. And Justin Fields comes out and says that the coaches are to blame for, him being robotic and not being able to process, basically information overload is what he alludes to, that the coaching staff's feeding him too much, and he feels that he just needs to go out there and play football. I totally agree with that. But before we get into Justin Fields and the specifics for this week, we have to talk about the embarrassing week we had last week. So week 2 recap, Baker cooks the Bears, Fields 16 of 29, 211 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. Mayfield 26 of 34, 317 yards and a touchdown. Ultimately, the Bucs beat the Bears 27-17, although
the score is closer than the game was.
Right. I would almost argue against that because the Bears handed the Bucs 14 of those points, right, with turnovers. So,
I mean, that's true. That is true. 14 of those points. And I will say this, the defense, for all the heat that they get, they only allowed 7 points in the second half. So, I mean, that's a positive, I guess, if you're going to take anything positive from that game last week, is the defense played okay in the second half. But it was overall, to me, a game that both of us last week thought the Bears should win. And they came out, and I was super hyped. Came out, first drive, touchdown. DJ Moore was getting involved, and then it all fell apart from there. Except for one other drive that the Bears had that was another touchdown.
So one thing that we've talked about on this network a lot is the development of Justin Fields. And obviously, through these first 2 weeks of the season, for whatever reason, some people are saying Justin's holding the ball too long. Some people are saying that, myself included, that screen passes all the time is not a good coaching method for a guy that's got, the mobility that we know Justin has. Whatever the reason, the offense just has not been clicking on all cylinders over the past 2 weeks. And so then you have Fields come out ultimately during the presser on Wednesday and say he's being overcoached. He wants to just get back to his brand of football. It came out that Patrick Mahomes talked to him at, I believe, one of their pressers. It got brought up that he had reached out to Fields and told him, you're going to be fine. Just go out there and play your game. Hopefully it's not against us. but go out there and play your game. And, you look back, I want to go back for a second to the game last year against the Miami Dolphins, where Fields totally played his brand of football, rushed the ball for 175 yards, still managed to throw 3 touchdowns in the game. He's the only quarterback in NFL history to do that, as unique of a stat as it is. Still have to bring that up. So, you look at Justin Fields and his raw talent, the raw ability, that he has the ability to make plays with his legs. He plays best when he's playing free, kind of floating around the field. I don't understand schematically what the hesitancy has been to get him out on those bootlegs and play action more. We know that, there's a large portion of the media that says that Fields cannot read the entire field. So if that's the case, cut the field in half for him on those bootlegs, roll him out to one side. He's only got 1-2 options and a check down. If neither of those 3 are open, he takes off with his legs and is able to pick up some big yardage. That should be the philosophy that Luke Getsy and this team go with moving forward. I mean, realistically, you should be force feeding the ball to DJ Moore, and when that's not open, utilize Justin Fields' legs. That to me seems like a clear path to victory. Excuse me, even against a team like the Kansas City Chiefs that we're playing this afternoon. Kansas City's defense, aside from Chris Jones, is really not that good. So if you double team Jones and give Fields time in the pocket, give him time to move around and be elusive, there's no reason that this Bears offense can't go out and score a good amount of points. I'm going to say more than 20 today, realistically. Will it happen? Will it come to fruition? I don't know. But moving forward, embarrassing. 0-2 start to the season. We have the QB versus coaches. Obviously, we touched on Justin Fields' comments, and then ultimately he had to redact those comments and call the media back into the locker room after practice and say, it's on me. I don't mean to blame the coaches, etc., etc. The offense has been bad. Alan Williams resigns. There's a whole lot going on in Hallis Hall for only week 3 of the season. With that being said, Ace, I want to get your take specifically on Justin Fields' comments on Wednesday. Do you think that the organization said you need to go back out there and right the ship after he blamed coaching, or do you believe that it was all of Fields' own doing?
So that was a wild situation because the headlines were all Fields calls out coaches for robotic play, right? And then, if you listen to the whole press conference, he does go on afterwards to say that it's not just the coaches, that he needs to play better, the offensive line needs to play better, the defense needs to play better, the team as a whole needs to play better. But, clicky headlines are Justin Fields calls out coaching staff. The
media loves a good clickbait.
Right. And it got the job done, right? Because he had to come back out and address that, saying that, if they're going to use his quotes to make sure you put the whole thing in there.
Right.
And I think that, so what we've heard from him and the coaches afterwards was how good of communication that they have in general, right? They talk to each other. They're always going through the playbook on this and that, and
how great their chemistry is.
Right. And the one thing
Getsy and Fields hugging on the field.
Yeah, that was a little obnoxious, but
totally obnoxious.
The one thing we knew we needed to see this year was if Justin Fields could produce from the pocket. And I think that that's what they were trying to do these first 2 games, was to see, okay, let's see where he's at in the pocket. The play calling definitely seemed to be more of like the coaching staff just didn't trust him from the pocket with all the screen passes. Right. And I think total team failure comes to mind at this point. I don't think it's just the coaching. I don't think it's Justin Fields. It's not just the line. It's not just the receivers. It's a total effort on especially the offensive side of the ball. Right. I think that at this point, going into today's game, you've lost 12 consecutive games. We'll get into that. But what's more important for this team right now? Is it going to be, okay, Fields looks solid from the pocket, but they lose? Or is it going to be, okay, we're changing up the offense and we get a W? Because they always say that winning cures everything. And right now they need a cure badly. Because
it's been over a year, right, since the Bears have had a win.
Yeah, we have. That's the next topic that we were going to touch on. So if you want to go right to that, we can.
Yeah, 12 straight and counting. When will the wins come? Bears haven't won since October. Not quite a year, but quickly approaching.
Pretty close. Yeah.
Very frustrating as a fan, especially when you consider how much we thought this team would be different this season, how much we thought we would see, the immediate connection between Justin Fields, DJ Moore translate to big touchdowns. And it has to a degree. The first drive last week looked really great, but then DJ Moore gains 70 yards in one drive, and you don't see him out there again, basically. Well, he's out there, but you don't see him being utilized out there until the second half.
Right.
I don't understand it.
It's 12 straight losses, and I believe it's that they made a record, right? The Bears have held another record in the NFL, and it's not a good one. They seem to always, every year, find a way to make worse history for themselves. I believe it's 12 straight games by allowing 25 points or more in each of those games.
That's correct.
So, you're looking at a situation where for a while there, the offense was looking pretty good, but
led
the
league
defense
in scoring for 7 weeks and didn't win during.
And I believe the last victory was that game against the Patriots, that Justin
correct.
Fields coming out party. That's what everybody called it. And since then, it's been downhill. I think that there's a massive need for a victory today. If we look at the schedule, let's just pull it up, and I'm going to run through this, and we can look for when the win is going to come. Because
while you're doing that, I want to segue and say that Mike Greenberg, Greeny, shout out to him. Day morning, talked specifically about the Bears having, 2 top round pick quarterbacks in the last 5 years, and the organization failing to develop those quarterbacks.
Yeah.
So you look at that, you look at 12 straight losses, you wonder how long it's going to be until we win a game again. And then does a guy like Caleb Williams even want to come to the Bears next year? Or does he say, I'm going to play in college another year, take this NIL money, and not go to an organization that's a dumpster fire?
Oh, you mean a dumpster fire?
That is exactly what I mean.
And that's an interesting thought with with all that money in college football right now. It's really interesting. It's going to be interesting going forward to see if more of these guys decide to stay instead of come out because they're still going to make some money. A
lot of these guys are making, what NFL rookies will make on their NIL deals. It's crazy.
Right, and that's just going to drive the price up for rookies in the NFL now. And it's not a terrible thing. But that's a whole different topic for a different,
of course,
thing. But I do think that it's very concerning when you look at the landscape of the Bears, right? Especially over the last, when did Lovie Smith? When was he fired? Like 8 years ago?
2013, 10 years ago.
Yeah, 10 years ago, and since then it's been awful. They had one winning season in this entire time since then, and that was the 16 playoffs? No, the 18 playoffs, right? And
double doink
here, right? Yeah. So it's not been good for the Bears. You had Lovey get fired, then you bring in Emery and Trestman, and you have the debacle of those two, and then you bring in John Fox.
Trestman got benched from calling plays in the XFL,
right? And then you bring him in. The Bears have a great, offense the first year, doesn't pan out. And then the second year is just a complete train wreck between him and Cutler and Marshall and all those guys. And then the next year they fire him and Emery. They bring in John Fox and Ryan Pace, and then Pace doesn't tell Fox about Trubisky, and they pick Trubisky, and then Fox is fired the next year, and they bring in Nagy, and then there's a playoff run, and then they start to fall downhill from there, and then you allow a coach that you knew was going to be fired the following year to pick another quarterback in Justin Fields, and now we have a GM and a coach that are saddled with a guy they didn't pick. So is it them going out of their way to not have him be successful because they want to get their own guy? Or I don't think that's it. I just think that this coaching staff wants to see if he can produce in the pocket.
They're too smart for their own good is how I'm going to say it.
Yeah, he even said it. There's too many voices in his head, in his helmet right now, and we've talked on it plenty, and when he gets the ability to get out and run and make plays with his legs, his confidence just goes to a different place.
Skyrockets.
Right, and they haven't allowed that to happen. Yes, defenses are defending him differently, but at the end of the day, you gotta help your quarterback, right? That's what your job is as a coach, is to coach to your player's strengths. So if his strength isn't pocket awareness, which is weird because in college, he was a good passer, and that's a whole different topic also in itself, why Ohio State quarterbacks struggle so much coming out of college. But I think if you're going to focus on anything, I think you really need to focus on how you're going to boost a quarterback's confidence when he's clearly shook. He's clearly not feeling good about where he is with this team. I'm sure he expected at this point for his play to be better, and he'll admit that too. And we talked about when will the next win come. I mean, I'll go over the schedule real quick, even just the next 5 games, and we could talk about it. They play the Chiefs today. It would be a miracle, in my opinion, if they can pull off a win today. Then they play the Broncos.
That's very winnable game.
Right, it's winnable. I thought Tampa Bay was winnable also. So, I mean, maybe next week, but then you play the Commanders.
Next week. That's a very winnable game.
I think if you don't win today, you have to win next week. And if you lose next week, man, you're 0-4.
I think if you don't win today, you need to win the next 2 games. Honestly, I think you need to come out and beat the Broncos, and then you need to come out and beat the football team, the Commanders, whatever.
And they lost last year to the Commanders.
In a very tight game, yeah.
Realistically,
I would like to think Justin Fields is going to come out today, and this actually takes us right into our next topic. Bears Chiefs, who you got? Ace, before I get into my opinionated Bears fan meatballish take here, who do you got?
How about we actually take your meatball take first, and then I'll bring us back to reality afterwards? How about that? I kind of like that idea.
All right, that's fine. So my meatball prediction of the day is going to be that Justin Fields comes out today like a man unhinged, rushes for 100+ yards with his legs. The Bears score 4 touchdowns, and they beat the Kansas City Chiefs by 3 points.
Did you just say 4 touchdowns?
4 total touchdowns.
Yeah. I heard the number total.
4 total.
Have they scored 4 total touchdowns this season yet?
Yes, they have.
Okay, I think they have 4 total touchdowns, right?
Gonna double that out.
So they're gonna double it in one game.
One game.
I like it. I like the meatball aspect. And what score are you giving this game?
I'm gonna give this game a score of, I'm going to say 31-28 Chicago.
Oh, okay. If that happens, I'll be so happy. I will be so happy. Crush Matt Nagy's dreams of revenge on the Bears. And now let me steer the plane back onto course, because we are, as we put it earlier, a dumpster fire. So it's been a terrible 2 weeks. You have a coaching staff, we've talked about it, that's not really on the same page with the offense.
Are you like trying to mock me? I kind of understand.
I wish Cutler would come back. Bring back Jay. We'd be all the way right now.
I know you got all in your feelings last week, and we're like,
yeah. I was up all
night
night watching before the game on last Sunday, watching old clips of Cutler, throwing the ball, and Matt Forte running everywhere. And defense was good, but
one thing I will say about Cutler is that guy just threw the ball 100%, no matter where it was going.
That is what Justin Fields needs. He needs that level of confidence right now, where I don't care. I'm just going to throw that, and if it gets intercepted, it gets intercepted. We live with the results.
It was more he was throwing rockets to like the shallow cross, so the receivers would complain that their hands hurt after the game, right?
Yep. So my take on today's
reality.
We're and this is coming from me. Remember, before the season, I projected that they would win 12 games.
You did.
I did, and I mean, it's still possible. It is still possible to this point.
It is still possible.
But they can only lose 3 more games the rest of the year.
Highly unlikely.
If that is one of those games, which I think it's going to be, then they can only lose 2 more games the rest of the year. Yep. So today I see it going, hopefully, if I have to be optimistic but realistic, I would hopefully like to see Justin Fields run right away. An RPO, give him the ability to read the defense, see what they're going to do. If it's not fair,
the game with an RPO is what you're saying?
Why not? Or honestly, or play action. Play action, roll out, hit DJ Moore down the field. You got to do something to shake up the monotony of your offense, right? And I would love to see him go out there, rush for 70 yards, 80 yards, maybe 250 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, and no interceptions would be nice. I would like to see him not throw an interception today. He threw one
a fumble, no turnovers, period.
So with him running more, I think fumbles are more likely to happen.
Of course.
A pick six no pick sixes would be nice. Don't give the other team points.
That would always be nice, yes.
But I think that 250 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, whether it's a passing and a rushing touchdown, I don't care. I just want to see a clean game from this offense. It doesn't always have to be perfect, but I want to see the plays build on each other. I want to see them have the ability to, okay, we're going to utilize the run to set up the play action, right? The play action worked. Now we're going to do something else where we're going to move Justin out of the pocket and open up, give the ball to the playmakers, right? You're going to give the ball short slants. Forget the screen pass where you're, even with the guy.
Screen.
Even if you do a little 3-yard slant, that's still better 3 yards further down the field than just throwing it right next to you.
I hate the lateral play, the sweeps, the screens. I don't like it.
What I don't want to see is what they did last week, where they'll have some kind of momentum going, and then they'll do something dumb like a jet sweep to Velus Jones that just gets completely blown up because he doesn't play, and everybody knows when he's in the game, that's the play they're going to run. I would like to see that. I would like to see less penalties by the offense as a whole. I feel like that really threw him out of rhythm. I believe he said something about that too in that press conference about how it's hard to get into a rhythm when you're getting these penalties, and it's true. It's been a very sloppy looking offense for both games. With the Packers, I mean, right when they started against the Packers, they got a penalty, I'm pretty sure, for a false start.
Yes.
Was the first thing that happened in this year. Right. So you're looking, this team last season played really well and didn't have a lot of penalties. That's why this whole spotlight is on the coaching staff right now, because of how sloppy it's looked, because of how they don't look like they're ready to play.
Right.
I think if it continues down that road where it's just sloppy play, penalties. Fields is not getting any better. The dumpster fire explodes even more.
It's starting to get a little warm in here, isn't it?
Yeah. My seat, or Eberflus's seat, should really start to get pretty hot at that point. I don't know if they would fire him before the season's over, because then you're looking not only for a new coach, but a new defensive coordinator as well.
Hey, Jeff Saturday is available.
Oh, yeah.
No, he just went back to ESPN. So,
I mean, it's a weird situation that this team is in, because this last week felt like such a must-win game, right? They should have had this. We have to win this game because we're going into KC next week, and that's going to be a fight for our lives. But it also was a must-game win week 1. You're against your arch rival, home opener of the season, all this hope and momentum going into the season. All the Bears players are talking about how hard they work. Nobody has done more in the offseason than us, and then they go out and lay that egg. They make Baker Mayfield look like Patrick Mahomes. Like, there's a lot of concerning things. I see this game optimistic and realistic. I would say 30-24.
Bears loss.
Yeah, Bears losing 30-24. And I mean, that's still not a great performance by the Bears, but I'm hoping that at least it looks, even if it's not flashy, I just want it to look competent. I want them to look like they know how to play football. Now,
how can you say the Bears are going to lose this game, Angelo?
An unrealistic me, the 12-5 me, well, we got to make up some ground here, right? We got to make up some wins somewhere.
Light it up.
I mean, why not 38-13 Bears?
The Bears defense is not.
No, that's what I really think as a pessimistic fan. That's what I think this score is going to be. 38-13 Kansas City. Yeah.
That's a tough one to lay on me right there, Ace, I tell you. But, realistically, as you said, there's a lot of holes in this team. It's like we're running with a Swiss cheese block, I swear.
Yeah.
There's holes all over. We're being exposed. We were sold on the illusion that this team was going to be so much significantly better during the offseason, as you said. No one's worked harder than us. We're going to come out. We're going to light the league up, and it just hasn't been consistent thus far. It's frustrating as a fan. It's even more frustrating for us as analysts, doing these shows. It becomes difficult to bring the joy out and, be optimistic and remain positive when you just see literally your entire organization, like, I hate to simplify it like this, but honestly shitting on themselves like all
and it's always that way. There's been what has been a positive this entire time?
Bad loss. Your defensive coordinator's now gone. People are stealing lawn mowing equipment from the stadium. Like, what?
Yeah, like,
what kind of bullshit is this? Is this real life?
This has been like, we've lived and I'm only 33, right? So I haven't lived as long as, like, my dad, or like on ESPN, they talk all the time about all these crazy things that happen.
We weren't alive to watch the 85 Super Bowl.
Right. For me, this has been one of the craziest starts to a season that I can remember.
I think ever. Yeah.
And I know a lot of it this week was really more so rumors with like what was going on with the defensive coordinator. And I'm glad that we were able to kind of get some clarity from Schefter about that it's not legally based. And, that's a little less embarrassing stuff that has happened now.
It takes that out of the spotlight, right?
Right. So now you're just focused on the comments from Fields of coach versus quarterback. So it's not as hectic, but what will make it more hectic is if they go out and play awful today and it just looks as sloppy as it's looked the last 2 weeks. Then you're going to fall right back into, all the media talking about, Fields isn't the guy and this and that. And if they play the way they've played the last 2 weeks, I It's so hard to find a
Fearful for the
positive.
future.
Yeah, it's so because they set themselves up right for this next offseason to be the offseason to really make a big step forward.
Right.
You have 2 first-round draft picks, right? If Justin Fields is that guy, that's fantastic because you can utilize both those picks to improve the holes on the defense or to give him another weapon or to help with the offensive line or get one of those things and trade the other pick next year and keep moving that down the line. But if Fields isn't the guy, all that goes out the window. And then you got to use both those picks to get your quarterback. Right. Yeah. And that's worst case scenario. We talked about at the start of the season. And I am fearful at this point.
We're headed down that worst case scenario road. It's still early, guys.
It is still early. It's only week 3, and the dumpster fire is lit. But maybe Fields and his offense can come in and put this fire out.
It's starting to stink a little bit.
Maybe they can come and put this fire out today by playing competent. Right. I'm not saying they have to win this game because realistically, odds are you're playing the best quarterback in the NFL right now. You will probably lose this game. But if you can come out
12.5-point favorites,
right?
The Bears,
right now. If you lose by 10, as long as it looks competent, I'm not asking them to go out and be world beaters, but go out and look like you can play football, like you set your team up for success as a coaching staff, that you prepared these guys, that your offensive coordinator and quarterback are on the same page when it comes to how we're going to utilize each other and the way we're going to run this offense. Use your running backs. That's what they talked about all offseason, right? Oh, we have a great group of running backs. We want to run the ball first, and that's what we want to build our offense
monster,
right? And then 4 because you had Fields, right?
Right.
The running back group was supposed to be the main group of guys that they were going to lean on this season to open up everything else down the field.
And what's going on with Khalil Herbert?
Right. And you have a guy like Rashawn Johnson who played well in week 1, goes and busts a 30-yard run in week 2, and then you don't see him anymore. And I made this prediction before the season that I thought Rashawn Johnson would be RB1 by the midpoint of this season. I still think that that's the case if they're going to utilize him properly.
That's what's frustrating is you see all of these running back by committee systems. I want to, look at Philadelphia, for example, at a high level. DeAndre Swift, Kenneth Gainwell, Boston Scott. I've got one more guy in there, too, that I'm forgetting. But
Sanders?
No, Miles Sanders is gone. So you've got, a 4-headed attack in the rushing room over there in Philadelphia. And they really feed the hot hand, which fantasy people hate because it makes it impossible for you to know who's going to have a boom or bust week, right?
Right.
But from a strategic standpoint, they will throw Swift out there, as you saw last week, was supposed to get about half the carries. He had 175 yards and a touchdown.
Right.
And they were just like, okay, he's hot. We're going to keep feeding him. Gainwell was injured last week, so obviously limited availability at the running back position for him. But, there were times last year even as well where you saw the hot hand just kept getting fed consistently. Excuse me. And that's what the Bears need to do here.
They never seem to do that, though, right? Like
if Rashawn Johnson comes out, he's hot, gets, let's say 40 yards on the first drive. We score on the first drive, and 40 yards of that is rushing by Rashawn Johnson. Not likely to happen, but if it does, you would think that drive 2, he's the starting back, and he's staying out there. However, he could literally rush the ball in for a touchdown, and the Bears would put Deonta Foreman in the very next series.
Right.
Or Khalil Herbert. There's no...
We want to make sure all these guys get their touches. No.
If
this guy is able, exactly. If Johnson is going to be the player that I think a lot of us thought he was going to be this season, that was the big hype, right? Like, oh, man, the Bears love this guy. They were so happy that they were able to get him. Then use him. He does
as he should be used.
One running back, right? He can block, he can pass catch, he can run.
Right.
Utilize him and let this kid get the experience. Let your offense run with him. It's so frustrating because, like you said, they never just want to go with what's working. They'll throw, Fields could, like DJ Moore and Justin Fields were hot that first series, right? And then they didn't go back to
Then
DJ.
they went away from him until after half.
Exactly. And
what are you doing?
It doesn't make sense. And that's why I said that all I want to see is this offense look competent. I want them to.
But can they under this coaching staff?
Game. It's frustrating.
Can they look competent behind this coaching staff is the real question. So I think with that, guys, we are going to go ahead and get into our bare bones segment. So each and every week, right here on Out of Hibernation, USN's premium pregame show, Angelo and I look at 3 keys to a Bears victory. They are what we call our bare bones. We're going to play the clip, and we will get into this segment. We'll be back with you guys in 30 seconds.
Play to the whistle, man. Let's be great today. Let's be great. Win out 3, 1, 2, 3. Win.
All right, guys, and we are back. You are tuned in to Out of Hibernation right here on the Undefeated Sports Network. I am Andrew Tarbill. To my left is Angelo Ace Camacho, also known as Mr. Is This Hell? I don't know. I'm just going with the taglines that you put over there.
Yeah.
Each and every week, guys, we give you our bare bones, which we consider the 3 keys to a Bears victory. And as always, we're going to get right into it. And number 1 has been number 1 all season long thus far is Justin Fields. Justin Fields and his ability to play loose, be the passer that he needs to be, roll out, run those bootlegs, run the play action, the naked, all of those concepts, the RPOs that are going to help each and every down of football be a little less unbearable, I will say. Justin Fields needs to come out today and rush for, I am going to say 75 plus yards for this team to be competitive and have a chance to at all even keep this game close this afternoon. So what it boils down to is we need the intensity out of Fields where he looks 1, 2, 3, the options aren't there. He takes off, turns it into a big play with his legs. Justin Fields is by far going to be the best athlete on the field aside from Patrick Mahomes this afternoon.
Right.
Agreed?
100%. So my thought with Fields when I was making this up was what we haven't really had this year is that big third down conversion with his legs, right? And that was something last year that they were able to utilize that would spark the offense, keep the drives going, Fields' confidence would build. I don't think it has to be 70 plus. I think if he can utilize his legs 50 yards, scramble to get that third down if you can get it, but hold on to that ball. I think I'd like to see him, like you said, 1, 2, 3. If it's not there, go. Don't even hesitate. Just play the way you know how to play. And right now, his confidence is built through running. Whether that's good or not, that's how you build it. Right now, he needs confidence. He doesn't need 400 yards passing.
Are you trying to mock me? I can't understand. Are you trying to mock me? I can't understand. Are you trying to mock me?
Still to this day, my favorite drop we have on this show. But I think if he comes out is conscious of holding on to the football, not making that dumb play, that stupid interception, hitting guys when they're open, not missing wide open guys. Whether it's the spacing or the timing or whatever. If a guy's open, you got to deliver the ball.
Yeah, you don't need DJ Moore clapping down the field in week 3 again.
100%.
Not to cut you off, but real quick. So at the end of the game last week, DJ Moore got hot mic'd with one of the defenders who basically said, "Man, they're not using you right." And he's like, "Yeah, tell me about it, bro."
Yep.
That is a horrible look in week 2 of the NFL season. But that's on the Bears. And honestly, I don't want to take away from Justin too much right here, but I have a bad feeling that if they don't figure out the utilization of DJ Moore quickly, he will want to be out of Chicago by the end of the season.
So here's my thought on that. If they don't figure out how to utilize DJ Moore more efficiently, this offense is going nowhere all season.
Absolutely.
And then you're going to find yourself in a situation where you have a disgruntled wide receiver.
Right.
You have a disgruntled quarterback. Like, you might be 0-6, 0-7. Right. Where exactly? The dumpster fire just keeps getting bigger. And today, Fields needs to look confident. That's what I want from him going
he needs to look
out
the
of this
part.
game.
That's what it is, right? He needs to look the part of a true NFL quarterback, whether that's he rushes for 100 yards and drops a few touchdowns in the basket, or he suddenly stands up in the pocket and throws a bunch of darts. Whatever the case is, he needs to look like a competent NFL quarterback this week. And through weeks 1 and 2, he hasn't.
He needs to understand also, like, in the NFL, you're going to get hit in the pocket. Like, it's just going to happen. Look at Kirk Cousins in Minnesota. That dude gets abused.
So stand up, make the throw.
Right. Take
accurately
the hit.
and on time, and take the hit and move on.
Exactly.
Justin Fields is a big guy. He's a big-bodied guy. He's not Bryce Young. He can take a hit.
Right.
So I really got to stop with the Bryce Young hate, but you know,
I don't think it's hate.
My Tide's not doing too good this season.
No, they're not. They look rough.
I mean, when your last 4 starting quarterbacks are now NFL starters, at some point you're going to run to the bottom of the barrel.
I mean, that's true. That's true also.
You got Bryce Young, Tua, Mac Jones, and Jalen Hurts all starting on NFL rosters. So
some better than others, but you know.
Yeah. Take Mac out of the equation, but no, back to our Chicago Bears though. Justin Fields has to deliver today and look like a competent NFL quarterback. Moving on to topic number 2, opportunistic defense. And Ace, you came up with this one, so I want you to explain a little bit what you mean by that. So I'll give you my thoughts.
Over the last 2 games, we've watched the defense have opportunities to get interceptions, opportunities to make sacks on key plays, and not be able to capitalize on those opportunities. Yes, the defense as a whole, man. Right. The defense as a whole is important. But you could get all the pressure you want. If you can't bring the quarterback down, it does you nothing. You could have all the chances to make plays, but if you're not going to hold on to the ball when it hits you in the hands for an interception, it's nothing. You need to be ball hungry today. You're already down Eddie Jackson. You're down a couple of guys.
Huge loss.
Right. And especially against this quarterback, right? Your defense is going to struggle. Your offense has proven that it struggles. So as a defense, you need to take any chance, any opportunity that you get to get a turnover. It doesn't matter if it's, a missed snap from Fields or from Mahomes in the center, or, you jump a route, they're going to feed Kelsey heavy, just
Edmonds and Edwards have to shut down Kelsey today.
Right. One turnover, give your offense the short field, which will also give your quarterback more confidence. I'm not saying you got to be, holding Mahomes to 120 yards, but
you should.
Don't make it look so easy and get some pressure. And when you get that pressure, take the opportunity to actually bring the quarterback to the ground.
So here's my thoughts on the defense. I think, as I previously alluded, Edmonds and Edwards need to be able to shut down Travis Kelce today.
Yep.
And I think Taylor Swift's going to be there, so he's going to have a little bit of extra motivation to try to ball out, try to impress his new bae. But realistically, I think Edmonds and Edwards need to shut down Travis Kelce, because then who are you throwing the ball to? You've got Sky Moore, who had a terrible performance week 1, bounced back a little bit last week. You've got your receiver core is just not what it once was in Kansas City. So our defense should be able to cover these receivers up. And Matt Nagy is doing his best to ruin Patrick Mahomes over there in Kansas City, right? Like week 1, they came out and played horrible, and then the narrative was this is exactly what Patrick Mahomes would have looked like if he came to the Bears. And
Yeah, that was the thing.
as funny as that may sound, it's the truth. We would have ruined Patrick Mahomes.
I don't know if we
as
would have ruined him. I
just
think it
as
would have
we
been a
ruined-
struggle for him. I think he's good enough to where he would have been able to overcome poor coaching because that's just how good he is. But
just as we ruined Mitchell Trubisky, just as this offense is ruining Justin Fields.
I don't know if they ruined Mitch. He's just
I
he played 13 games. Like
I
come on.
think they did ruin Mitch, but I don't want to go back to that depressing era of football.
I mean, it's just as depressing today.
Right.
So
But no, ultimately, I think the defense needs to shut down Kelsey. That's going to be a key for me. And then, as you said, getting pressure. Yannick Ngakoue last week made Baker Mayfield look like Jalen Hurts, Justin Fields, Lamar Jackson, you know, all of these quarterbacks that can juke and fake and get away from defenders. Yannick Ngakoue let Baker Mayfield do that to him, and that's embarrassing.
yeah.
Baker Mayfield is not known for being an elusive quarterback that can run. You know, he stands up in awkward runs like Aaron Rodgers does.
Yeah, he's going to be getting a lot of endorsements for insurance and Hulu again after that game.
Yeah, he's going to be back in the stadium at home with Baker Mayfield.
Those are great.
I think the defense has to do better today. I think it's a great opportunity for them to do so, and it'll be interesting to see what happens. Keys to a Bears victory are bare bones is coming to an end, my friend, with the running game. Bears running game has to be better today. We touched on it a little bit earlier in the show. You've got to see consistency out of the backfield and feed the hot hand, right? That's ultimately what it boils down to. If Roschon Johnson comes out and he's playing like the true number one back that we both know that he can be, leave him in the game. He can catch passes. He's a good blocker. He can run straight at the hole. I mean, Roschon Johnson is arguably at this point, week 3 of the NFL season, the most complete running back that the Bears have, correct?
I would think so in terms of what he can do, what he can provide for this offense. I think, you know, going forward, you never pay a running back, right? So Khalil Herbert isn't going to get paid. Why not just run with this guy? Let him get all the I wouldn't say all of them, but let him have the bulk of the touches.
I'm gonna have to stop you right there. That was a very John Yurkovich take, if I ever heard one.
I mean, it's true though. What are you going to spend money on a running back for? If teams can get rid of guys like Dalvin Cook and
so you don't pay Derrick Henry. You don't pay.
I mean, I wouldn't pay Derrick Henry, especially when your quarterback's as garbage as he is in Tennessee.
You don't pay Christian McCaffrey.
I mean, okay. Yes, there are.
I mean, okay.
There are, right. Let's not act like Khalil Herbert is Christian McCaffrey over here. Okay, that's not even close. If he was performing like Christian McCaffrey, hell yeah, let's pay him. Let's pay him. But at the end of the day, he's just a guy. He's not.
He's just a warm body. I agree.
They let David Montgomery go, who I thought was better than Khalil Herbert. Yeah, Herbert had a good year last year. I mean, it's not worth the cap space. That's a whole different topic for a whole different show.
Totally agree. I'm just giving you.
But I do think that they talked about it all offseason. This running game is what they were going to lean on, then lean on it. You were having success running the ball last week, and then you stopped running the ball last week.
Right.
So, again,
it has to be a healthy mix, right?
Right.
As much as we want to see Fields be the passer that everyone wants him to be, I don't want to see Fields go out there and throw 40 screen passes in a game. That's not getting it done for me.
Yeah, I swear to God, Tarbill, if they come out and the first freaking play is a screenplay,
I'm changing the channel. Not really, but
it would be such a slap in the face to everybody.
It probably will be too, right?
You know what we're gonna do? Well,
it's gonna be a trick. It's gonna be a trick play.
And nothing was more arrogant and douchebaggy than when Luke Getsy goes, "Oh well, you know, if they get the edge and we get 20, 25 yards out of those plays, then you guys are patting me on the back." Yeah, cool. If I hit every lottery number and won the lottery, I'd be a millionaire. But guess what? I didn't. So
here's what I'm gonna say. Bears come out, 1st and 10, opening drive, direct snap to Cole Kmet, toss over to the side to Justin Fields for a screen, and he breaks it for a 70-yard touchdown.
I mean, if it
Are you
works,
happy or are you pissed off?
I mean, I'll be happy because they scored.
I'll
be
happily
pissed off because I was like, why the trickery?
What kind
The
of
regular
garbage are
stuff
you
isn't
doing?
working. So
Right.
why bring in funny trick plays? That's what Matt Nagy used to do. He'd be like, oh, well, the regular shit's not working. So
Yep.
let me just do all this other crazy BS that's not going to work either. And
Touchdown pass from Tariq Cohen to Zach Miller in the end zone.
Yeah,
those
like-
were the days, eh?
oh, Santa Slay. You remember that? Remember that? Well, yeah, we call that one Santa Slay. Everybody's like, hell yeah, this is going to be great. And then it was just downhill after that.
Turbo Reek. I think they called one of them or
God,
something.
I hate it here.
Don't outsmart yourself, right? That's
Right. Don't
ultimately-
outsmart yourself.
Ultimately, what it comes
Football
down-
works a certain way for everybody. There's the same philosophy of balanced offense.
I didn't come to
Usually,
Chicago to run the I formation. Well, if it's
Yeah,
working,
well,
fucking
right.
do it.
yeah, then do it. But it's the coaches. I don't know what it is with the Bears and hiring coaches that just want to be like the next genius, but it hasn't worked.
Right. Just get us a guy that just calls normal, average plays.
Yep.
Schematically, takes a shot on 1st down, runs the ball on 2nd. Nice conversion on 3rd, whether that's a run or pass, and just flow it naturally. Make it work.
Like I said, I would love to see. You want to talk about opening plays? I'd love to see them do a play action right out the gate, roll Fields out, and either
deep double
launch
move
it
to DJ
downfield
Moore.
or take off yourself. One of the two.
DJ Moore runs a nice deep double move down the sideline. Fields rushes to the left, winds up, and just throws a dart 60
Dart it.
yards down the field for a tutty.
Yep.
Nothing
Let it
better,
rip.
man. I would love it. Do I think it's going to happen? No, I think we probably are going to see a fucking screen pass to open the game
I
because
swear.
why
Tarko,
wouldn't we?
If they look terrible, I might actually do a post-game show. We normally don't. But after 3 terrible games, there's going to be some ranting that might have to happen. But
I'm right there with you. We'll have to see what unfolds. But guys, with that being said, it is 12:15, so some of you are probably already watching us and watching football. For that reason, we should probably go ahead and wrap this dumpster fire up. It's getting a little warm in here for me. I need to go inside, cool down, regather my thoughts. All jokes aside, it's been a great show, guys. Thank you for tuning in. As always, we appreciate each and every one of you for joining us right here on the Undefeated Sports Network. We will be back with you next Sunday at 11 a.m. to hopefully have a little bit more positive of a show, but only time will tell on that one.
Packers suck.
As always, the Packers do suck. Thanks for that, Ace.
Yep.
Thank you guys for viewing. Be sure to go like, subscribe, and follow the Undefeated Sports Network on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook. We're all over, guys. Make sure you're liking and subscribing, following our content for more to come. If there is going to be a post game, we will make that announcement on the page. So be sure that you subscribe so you don't miss that. With that being said, guys, have a good afternoon. And as always, bear down.